When I was a kid, I thought I was going to be a social worker or be a teacher or somehow be in an environment where I would be connected and speaking to people to honor that calling. I had no idea that God could dream this big dream of television life for myself. But everybody has a calling, and your real job in life is to figure out as soon as possible what that is, who you were meant to be, and begin to honor that in the best way possible for yourself.
How can you discover what you're passionate about? How can you find what you truly love, your true life's calling? These are great questions. These are questions you should be asking yourself, whether you're young, just getting into college, just getting out of college, whether you're 40, 50, 60, 80 years old. There is no right time to start finding what you're passionate about and doing it when it comes to your life. These people connected to their passions led extraordinary lives. How can you do that? Well, in this video, we're going to talk about the best advice from the most successful people who have been connected with their passions their whole life and made millions and in some cases billions of dollars doing what they love.
No, I mean, I had fun when I was in my 20s, my 30s. Now I'm 86 and I'm having fun. And so I advise students as much as possible, look for the job that you would take if you didn't need a job. I mean, don't sleepwalk through life, and don't say it's all going to be great. I'll do this and I'll do that, and I'm just marking time to get to be older. That, as I've told people, that's like saving up sex for your old age. I mean, it just is not it is not a good idea. Yeah.
What are you urging them to do?
I'll explain it. Just what I'm talking about. Now, you really want to be doing what you love doing, and you can't necessarily find it on your first job.
Right.
But don't give up before you find it.
My father could have been a great comedian, but he didn't believe that that was possible for him. And so he made a conservative choice. Instead, he got a safe job as an accountant. And when I was 12 years old, he was let go from that safe job. And our family had to do whatever we could to survive. I learned many great lessons from my father, not the least of which was that you can fail at what you don't want. So you might as well take a chance on doing what you love. It's not the only thing he taught me, though. I watched the effect of my father's love and humor and how it altered the world around me. And I thought, that's something to do. That's something worth my time.
Why didn't older people see it? Well, they weren't as open-minded. They didn't think about software as the key ingredient. Now, a lot of kids started doing software, and if somebody reads the book to say that if you spend 10,000 hours doing something, you'll be super good at it, I don't think that's quite as simple as that. What you do is you do about 50 hours, and 90% drop out because they don't like it or they're not good. You do another 50 hours, and 90% drop out. So there's these constant cycles, and you do have to be lucky enough, but also fanatical enough to keep going. And so the person who makes it to 10,000 hours is not just somebody who's done it for 10,000 hours. There's somebody who's chosen and been chosen in many different times. And so all these magical things came together, including who I know in that time. And I think that's very important. When you look at somebody who's good and say, could I do it like them? They've gone through so many cycles.
I got the idea to start Amazon 16 years ago. I came across the fact that web usage was growing at 2,300% per year. And I'd never seen or heard of anything that grew that fast. And the idea of building an online bookstore with millions of titles, something that simply couldn't exist in the physical world, was very exciting to me. I just turned 30 years old, and I'd been married for a year. I told my wife, Mackenzie, that I wanted to quit my job and go do this crazy thing that probably wouldn't work, since most startups don't, and I wasn't sure what would happen after that. Mackenzie, also a Princeton grad and sitting here in the second row, told me I should go for it. As a young boy, I'd been a garage inventor. I'd invented an automatic gate closer out of cement-filled tires, a solar cooker that didn't work very well out of an umbrella and aluminum foil, baking pan alarms to entrap my siblings. I'd always wanted to be an inventor, and she wanted me to follow my passion. I was working at a financial firm in New York City with a bunch of very smart people, and I had a brilliant boss I much admired. I went to my boss and told him I was going to start a company selling books on the internet. He took me on a long walk in Central Park, listened carefully to me, and finally said, "That sounds like a really good idea, but it would be an even better idea for someone who didn't already have a good job." That logic made some sense to me, and he convinced me to think about it for 48 hours before making a final decision. Seen in that light, it really was a difficult choice, but ultimately, I decided I had to give it a shot. I didn't think I'd regret trying and failing, and I suspected I would always be haunted by a decision to not try at all. After much consideration, I took the less safe path to follow my passion, and I'm proud of that choice. Tomorrow, in a very real sense, your life, the life you author from scratch on your own, begins. How will you use your gifts? What choices will you make? Will inertia be your guide, or will you follow your passions? Will you follow dogma, or will you be original? Will you choose a life of ease or a life of service?
The prescription I gave myself was permission to become obsessed with the things I loved. And all the negative stuff, bing, just fell away. I was called selfish, greedy, mean to people, okay, narcissistic. Look, I've been called it all, I'm telling you. OCD, ADD, ADHD. So many D's that I started thinking I was a big D. I've had more people tell me I needed to take a vacation than I even wanted to take a vacation. Look, the reality is that no matter how much I have tried to squelch or control the obsession I've had with success, it has been the single one thing that is most responsible for my being where I am today.
If you're not coming up with 10 ideas a day, that's why I have this thing. If I'm not filling up this page every single day, then my idea muscle will atrophy. And I started this in 2001, and I still do it every single day. Like, you have to come up with ideas every single day, or the idea muscle atrophies. The good news is, after about 6 months of doing that, you're like a machine. Like, people get surprised at how many ideas you could just have anywhere. Industry we can outsource now. Like, Apple doesn't make iPhones here, they make iPhones in China. Knowledge even, everybody said, okay, we switched to a knowledge economy, but that's not true. Knowledge we can outsource. Like, in 2007, I outsourced a software project. I have 2 software projects now outsourced to different countries. I have a translation project outsourced. I have research projects outsourced. But I can't outsource to someone, come up with 10 ideas for me to do as businesses, or come up with 10 ways for me to, treat my customers better. So ideas are still here. Our ideas are the only thing we have left.
Right.
So we're in an idea economy now. People don't quite realize that yet. They still say, oh, we're in a knowledge economy, but that hasn't been true for at least like probably 15 years, but really the crisis of 09 underlined that. So really the past 4 or 5 years, ideas are how you make money. Now people say, oh, execution is everything, ideas are a dime a dozen, but it's not true.
Specific goal, but it has to have some goal. This is why I always recommend to people, sit down, take your time, and start thinking about, why do you want to work out? What is your goal? And then it can be as crazy as it is. It could be, I want to impress girls. If that's your goal, so be it, but it motivates you. It could be that you're emulating a certain, bodybuilder or a certain football player, a certain boxer, whatever it is. Have those pictures put all over the wall like I did when I was a kid. I put pictures of Reg Park and of Sonny Liston, of boxers and of Ali and of powerlifters and weightlifters all over my bedroom, wall, so that every day when I go to sleep, every day when I wake up, I look at those pictures and they motivate me. You need that motivation, and then therefore you have this kind of imprint in front of you all the time, and you know exactly what you're chasing. And this is why I always smiled when I was in the gym. People always came up to me and says, why are you smiling? You're working out 5 hours a day. You're doing the same as the other guys, but the other guys have a sour face. They're pissed off that they have to do another rep or another set or something. I looked forward to another 1,000 reps of sit-ups. I looked forward to another 500 pounds of leg press or squat. I looked forward to doing more and more curls until my arms fall off. Why? Because I knew that every rep that I did and every set that I did and more weights that I lifted, I get one step closer to turning that vision into reality. So I was turned on by that. I was excited. I couldn't wait to get to the gym.
My advice is just do things that are true to you. Most things that I'm involved with are extension of being creative. Rockaway is a clothing company. It's part of who you are, and hip hop is your attitude and what you're trying to express, how you dress. I love sports growing up. I grew up in a household where sports was on 24/7. So these are all things that are comfortable for me. These are things that I like. So I would just say get involved in things that you love, and also have a standard for yourself and have some sort of integrity and try to, find some sort of truth in what you're doing.
Not becoming expert at your passions. If you're passionate about something, you're going to give it. You're going to give it your all, and you're going to enjoy learning about it. Whereas if you have no interest in it, you're not going to lap it up.
Well, would you categorize, now with 400 companies under the Virgin Group, is it fair to say you have 400 interests? Or I know those are, I understand the structure of Virgin.
I'm interested in life generally, and I love learning about new things. And if something frustrates me, I'll dive in there and try to improve it. And quite a lot of things must have frustrated me.
But at the time, we were really scared, like, oh, we're not going to get our degrees, we're going to start this company, it'll be kind of lame. And, our parents were all upset, and, there are all sorts of issues. And so one of the things that I'd been through as a student was some leadership training. And one of the things they taught us was to not be afraid of failure. And instead to have the goal to fail a lot quickly, and then eventually you'll succeed. And I sort of took this to heart, and they also had a slogan called Healthy Disregard for the Impossible. And they actually made you write down sort of the things you would do that were kind of impossible, but you thought you might really accomplish. And that's really stuck with me in everything that I've tried to do. And I think, it was very, very close that we wouldn't have started the company. And I think there are many of you out there in sort of similar situations. Do you want to take a little bit more risk? Do you want to try something out? And even if you don't succeed, we actually tried many things that didn't work. Google happened to work pretty well, but there are many things that we did that didn't. But we don't worry about those, right? Because we tried many things. So I just encourage you to take a little more risk in life, and I think if you do it often enough, they will really pay off. Now, I wanted to make another point. So I think leverage is really, really important. And one of the things, I was really lucky, my dad was a computer science professor, and we had a computer when I was really young. And somehow I sort of realized, like, oh, you know, the computer can do a lot of things, and, you know, I'm kind of lazy, and, you know, having the computer do things is good. And that really gives you leverage. And it was amazing when we started the company, even when we had about 3 employees, we had several million people who used the search engine. And we actually accidentally published our phone number at some point on the website, and people started calling us, and we couldn't do our business because the phone just kept ringing.